Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. My name is Svetlana Giamberini, and I am the training manager of the Delta Plus group, and I welcome you to our series of webinars dedicated to safety at work. We are organizing these webinars in order to provide you with more support on current issues in our group, such as the development of our ranges, our new product focus, new norms in the PPE, etc. By the way, several topics have been requested by some of you, and we have decided with our team of product managers to organize and broadcast a series of 10 webinars of approximately 30 minutes each over the next 6 months. You will be able to participate by registering in new sessions and by making your inscriptions when you receive our invitations. This webinar is pre-recorded, but while it is on, you have the opportunity to send us your questions in the chat. Please feel free to do so. Our expert, of course, will answer all your questions at the end of the session by email. Today is our third webinar. It is about the hand protection with a focus on EN ISO 374 standard. Well, our guest is today Laetitia Guillerm, our hand protection manager. We welcome you, Laetitia, today with us. Laetitia will be leading this session concerning the evolution of this standard. So please, Laetitia, I let you speak now. Welcome.
Thank you, Svetlana. Let me introduce myself. My name is Laetitia Guillerm. I am the Group Strategic Business Unit Manager for the Hand and Disposable Garment Division. I will spend with you around half an hour to present you one of the chemical standards for gloves. We call this session How to Navigate with the EN ISO 374. We will split in 3 parts the plan. The first part will be how to recognize the chemical and microorganism risk. The second part will be how to understand. So the aim is to more go into details about the standards and the difference between the old version and the new version of the standards. And finally, how to recommend a product thanks to the acquired knowledge. The first part, as you can see, this is how a hands is. As everybody knows, they are a complex a part of the body. We can finally see that into the fingers, there are no muscles, only tendons and ligaments. There is a real necessity to take care of it. And we will see into this presentation why it's so important. Here, today, we will address this risk for hands. It is identified when people work with chemical agents or when they are in contact with microorganisms. Which kind of risk for the skin and for the health? Basically, there is many kinds of risks. The first is the contact with the chemical spray. This part, it's due to it can easily pass through the epidermis. There is also some contact with liquid chemicals. This can enter very quickly by the blood to vital organs. There are also some contacts with solvents and powders. This sometimes can be seen, but sometimes the powdered are really small, and this is only due to apparition of crevice or dry skin or some damage on the skin itself that can guide you about this kind of contact. A last one, but not least for sure, it's contact with microorganism. This one can be infectious agents like virus, bacteria, and fungus. As you can see, plenty of industrial environment are concerned. Buildings, for sure, and public works. You can find in those environments cements, composite, asbestos. Other environment like surface treatment industrial, we can see some nickel, some chromium. There is some glue and paint industries like on which we can find some epoxy, some resins, some polyesters, and so on. And all other industries with a solvent, white spirit, some acid detergent, and so on. Now we will try to understand much better what is the different part of these standards and why this is so important for us to more understand how it works. Let's look at the summarize. The new standards, the EN-ISO 374 Part 1, it concerns the chemical risk. The new important point to notice, it's the summarize of type of protection and pictogram associated. It determined the performance. There is a list of chemical tested. This is what we will see later, more in details. And there is some specification concerning gloves with long cuff. The EN-ISO 374/2, it concerns a test. This is the penetration test. Basically, this test remain the same. A new important point to notice is the AQL has been deleted compared to the previous version. If we continue with the EN 16523/1, this test concerns the permeation test. There is no real change in this test. The standards will concern all PPE now. It means that it will concern for sure gloves, but also some chemical garments and some shoes. The EN-ISO 374/4, this test is a new test. It's linked to the other test, and this is the degradation test. Now it becomes a mandatory test. There is no level of performance, and the results should appear into the UI, the user instruction. The last one, the EN-ISO 374/5, this is a standards for the microorganism risk. This is a type of protection against bacteria, fungus, and viruses. To go deeper into these standards, we have the basic standards, so the EN ISO 374/1, protective gloves against chemical product. First, we do the penetration test. The penetration test, this is water leak. This is for watertight and airtight. This is very basic one. This is to see if the gloves it's well to the it's okay actually to be sure that it will not go through. Then a second test is the permeation test. So this test is done for a certain time with a special chemical agent, which we will see later into the list of listed chemicals for the standards. And the last one is the degradation test. So this test is done to see how the chemical agents will affect the gloves. Just to give you a summarize of this test, you will see that the first, we check the penetration test. The glove must be airtight and watertight. Then a second test, it's the permeation, as I said already, the time of uh, passage of the chemical through the glove material. It can be from level 1 to level 6. And then the degradation, this is to check how the glove will become in contact with the chemical. Here, as you can see on the screen, you will find three types of protection. The type A means basically the widest and the best, I will say the best glove in terms of wider chemical product in terms of protection. So the permeation test, it's done for minimum 30 minutes to 6 chemical products of the list. And for sure, you have as well the degradation test. The type B, basically, this is close to the previous version of the standards. So 3 chemicals, 30 minutes in terms of test, and you have as well now the degradation test. And the final one, which is actually a new one, this is a test done only for 10 minutes for one chemical of the list. Basically, when you are in a wide industry, you are using basically a type A gloves or a type B. But for specific industries, sometimes it's required to use for a very short time a specific chemical. In that case, a type C, it's well accepted. And also, finally, as you can see here, there is a new particularity for the long gloves. The gloves that are more than 40 centimeters will be tested in two parts, on the cuff plus on the palm. If we have a look now on the other standards, the protective glove against micro-organism, you can see that basically we have to do the penetration test. When this test is done, we have the pictogram EN ISO 374/5. And then if we want to have the virus, we need to do an additional test, the method B for bacteria. And thanks to this, we can apply the virus just behind the pictograms. Just the summarize over here is to keep in mind that there is two standards. The first one it's for chemical risk, and in part of that you have a second one for microorganism. Basically, the first test is air and water and waterproofness. If this pass, you can start to do the permeation test and the degradation test. Basically, you can choose one, three, or six chemicals based on the environment on which you will propose your product. But in addition of that, it will depend as well on the raw material of your gloves, the resistance of your gloves, and what you plan to do. In addition of that, you have the possibility to do the, the test to protect against bacteria and fungi. This is not a mandatory test. Um, this is just depending on the product that you want to develop and what is the usage of the product. For example, basically for disposable gloves, we need to do chemical test, basically microorganism test, basically, then for sure air and waterproofness. Then we decide to do the degradation and the permeation test, but the most important for disposable gloves is to see if the glove can protect against bacteria and fungi, because disposable gloves are mostly dedicated to food industry and as well for health care. So this is really important to be sure that this product can suit to this specific demand. Now, if we have a look on the, I will say, the regulation part, what is going on when a standard is revised? Basically, we need to check the risk involved. And as a PPE manufacturer, we have to do an analysis of the risk that the people can have. We need to, if the risk is really involved, we need to recertify the product as soon as possible. Because if there is the user safety is in question, this is really mandatory to update the certificate. If not, we can take the time because we may consider that if, for example, it has been done for the EN ISO 374 in the past, it was just a mistake into the standards, and the mistake was just because they forgot to mention one letter. Okay, basically, everybody knows that it has been corrected. So this will not affect the usage of the standards, and it will not affect as well and put in danger the user. In that case, this is not mandatory to update quick. But if you have a look, Delta Plus as a PPE manufacturer and with the new regulation, we are recertifying our product every 5 years. Now, if you allow us, because we had a look how to understand the standards, I will now present you how to recommend the product. Basically, the glove has to be a solution. This this analysis has to be done for sure on the work site. We may identify two parts. The first part is the solution in terms of protection itself. We need to identify the hazards. We need to evaluate the risk. And then we need to propose a performance of protection. This is the first part, basically done only based on the protection itself. But as everybody knows, there is some compromise that has to be done. There is for sure additional criteria like dexterity, like comfort, or most of the time prices. We cannot say that this is the product you need to use. We need to check very carefully the environment and the needs. And based on the addition of all of the criteria, we are sure that we can propose the right product as the real solution for the user. So if you allow me now, we will try to to take a concrete case. I will spend some time to explain you why our ChemSafe is the right product in this particular story. We are in a chemical refinery site. An accident has just occurred. Outside, the temperature is very high. The person in charge of the maintenance for the periodic check were outside when a nut broke. It took 4 hours to repair the damaged pipe with a precision tools. They were equipped by handling gloves with chemical resistance, but had a very strong reaction to the chemical with which they were in contact. They had to be taken to the emergency room for treatment. Now, what is important for you? What important details has not been taken into account to anticipate this problem? This is actually what we will see now into details. Into this story, you can see some specific words that can guide you into the reply and the right solution, as we said before. There is always some compromise for for allocate and to propose the right PPE. So here, basically, if we have a look on the right of the screen, we can see that we have 3 products into our range that can meet to the needs. Okay. First, we have a demand. Okay, we are doing some maintenance. Nut broke. We are in refinery site. So what do we need actually? We need some chemical agent resistance to eneptane. Okay, ChemSafe can do the job. Our Nitrex VE822 can do the job as well. And our Nitrex VE803 can do for sure the job. If you continue to analyze the story, you will see that outside the temperature was quite high. In that case, you cannot recommend anymore the Nitrex VE802 because inside this is only flockline. Flockline, it's not recommended for a long usage outside with the moisture. We need a glove with a textile support inside. Okay. We still have 2 gloves that can meet the need. Chemsafe, for sure, and the Nitrex as well. Okay, let's continue with that. But if you have a look on the key specific words, we mention some, I will say, keywords. Precision tools. Precision tools means that we need a very thin glove to be a second skin effect, to work for a long time, for hours, but in specific environment with the tiniest and the I will say like real second skin effect. In that case, unfortunately, the Nitrex VE803 it's not anymore recommended. Even the liner inside it's very good. This is a cotton inside, which is quite thick actually, and can, I would say, can be less effective than the ChemSafe VV835, which is actually 18 gauge polyamide liner, so very, very light, very soft. These particular gloves make it the real gloves for the usage. If we have a look into the benefits of the gloves, we can easily identify that this is the best choice for the job that they have to do. 18 gauge, polyamide, make it very strong and durable. This anatomical shape will give a great dexterity and comfort. And then this is a versatile model for all intensive jobs. It's make it polyvalent, supple, flexible, chemical resistance. It's really ergonomic, and more than that, it's available in many sizes. Means that it will not affect you, and you will be able to use it for a longer time in a very precision work for the needs that you may have. So here, this is just an example of the type of job that has been done when the case as the accident has occurred, fortunately. But you can see easily that this is a complex method and this is a complex analysis to do. So I thank you for the time that we spent into this presentation.
Thank you, Laetitia. Thank you so much. It was a very great topic that you have presented to us today. I hope it will help to clarify this topic for all of you. Thank you all again for your attention. Thank you for being here with us. And of course, as I said, we will answer all your questions after the webinar. And we look forward to seeing you at our future sessions. And of course, we will keep you informed about the new topics in our next episodes. See you very soon again. And now we are saying to you bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.